Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees and pranams. Thank you for joining in for our Srimad Bhagavatam study session. Let's begin with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udhirayet Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtake Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha नमो पंकजनाभाय नमो पंकजमालिने नमो पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांग्रये पाहि पाहि महायोगीन् देवदेव जगत्पते नान्यं त्वादभयं पश्ये यत्र मृत्यु परस्परम् कृष्ण कृष्ण महाबाहो भक्तानाम् अभयंकरा त्वमेको धैर्यमानानाम् अपवर्गोऽसि संश्रुतेः ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरजुषे नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानन्दा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे आराध्य भगवान् व्रजेशतनयस्तद्धाम वृन्दावनं रम्या काचित् उपासना व्रजवधू वर्गेण वा कल्पिता श्रीमद्भागवतं प्रमाणममलं प्रेम पुमर्तो महान् श्रीचैतन्य महाप्रभोर्मतमिदं तत्र धरनापरा गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तरालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरून् दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरं हरिः ओं तत्सत् Hare Krishna. Thank you, devotees, for joining in. Welcome all of you for the Srimad Bhagavatam study session. We are on chapter number 7 of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. We're talking about the son of Drona punished, right? We yesterday talking about how Drona's son Ashwathama is called Draunya, right? The son of Drauni, like that, right? And we also discussed how, Krishna also addresses Arjuna in different names, right? Prithu, because he's the son of Pritha. Pritha is another name of Kunti. Also addresses as Kaunteya, the son of Kunti, right? Partha, the son of Pritha again, right? So like that, so many names have been assigned to people according to their name, according to their lineage, according to their characteristics, etc. Right? In this case, Drona is a Brahmana and his son is addressed as Drauni. His name is Ashwathama. But from his activities, we understand that he is not a Brahmana, but he is a Brahma Bandhu. That means he is relative to a Brahmana, but he is not performing the functions of a Brahmana because he does not have the qualities of a Brahmana. So like that. So that such people are referred to as Brahma Bandhu. Right? We discussed yesterday how Ashwathama released a Brahmastra, which was going to go into the womb of Uttara and kill, baby Parikshit. in the womb of Mother Uttara. And Uttara runs to Krishna. Pahi pahi mahayogin deva deva jagatpate nanyam tvad abhayam paishye yatra mrityu parasparam. Right? Pahi pahi mahayogi. Right? He's saying, she's saying, go Krishna, please protect me, please protect me. Because she's so much, in anxiety for her, for the child in her womb, for, which who mercilessly this Ashwatthama has sent a Brahmastra to kill. Right? Pahi pahi mahayogi, the master of all the yogis. Right? Deva deva jagatpate. Right? You are the Lord of the universe. You are the Lord of all the devas. Deva deva jagatpate. Nanyam tvad abhayam paisha. I don't have anybody else to protect me. Yatra mrityu parasparam. From this death-like situation, I don't have anybody to protect me. Oh Krishna, please help me, please help me. Like that, she's running when Krishna is about to leave for Dwaraka from Hastinapur. So, in this way, Ashwathama, although was the son of a Brahmana, had no qualities of the Brahmana. And 2-3 lessons we learn is, simply being born in a particular family does not guarantee anything. Right? It all depends upon Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam. No, sorry. What is that? Chaturveda Majante Mam Jana Sukra. No. What is that? We are our caste, or whether we are Brahmana or Kshatriya or Vaishya or Shudra, is not determined by our birth. It is determined by our activities. Guna karma vibhagashaha, right? So guna karma, right? According to our gunas or the modes that we acquired and our karmas, our activities. That is how our Chaturvarnyam maya shrishtam gunakarma vibhagashaha. That is how our varna is determined, right? Chaturvarnam. Whether we are Brahmana or Kshatriya or Vaishya or Shudra depends upon our qualities. If you are continuously want to earn a lot of money, engage in various kind of things, which will give us more money, more wealth, more name, fame, glory, etc. Then what are we doing? We are in the mode of passion. Right? And then if you are satisfied with whatever Krishna has given us, we are we're not Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. We are not practicing bhakti, but we are simply satisfied with whatever the Lord has given us. We are not aspiring for more and more and more. In that case, what happens? We are in the Brahminical mode, right? But if we simply follow instructions of others, simply work like donkeys without any sense of understanding, then we are Shudras. Right? And the combination of passion and ignorance is another class in between called Vaishya. Right? So they have a little bit of enterprising abilities by which they can manage some business, but you also typically have the quality of ignorance, right? Because you're also working. So this working class. So like that, Chatur Varnyam Maya Shrishtam. Krishna says, I have created these 4 classes of people, and they are to be determined not by birth, but by their qualities, right? But we see here Ashwathama, although a Brahmana by birth, seems to be a Shudra because he doesn't know what to do, what not to do, right? The person who lacks discrimination, what to do, what not to do, such a person is a Shudra, right? Because he needs guidance from someone else, what to do, what not to do, right? Because he lacks the discrimination because of lack of understanding of the scriptures. Right? So in that way, Ashwathama is not a Brahmana, although he is born in a Brahminical family. And then in this entire chapter, it's going to also, what does he do? He does another heinous task because he doesn't know what to do. He goes and kills all the 5 sons of Draupadi while they were sleeping in their tents, like that. Right? He thought that they were Pandavas and went and killed them. Right? Irrespective whether they are Pandavas or whether they are Pandavas' sons, does not matter. It is not etiquette to go and kill them in the to kill them when they are sleeping, and that too not even the Pandavas, right? At least Pandavas, they have some kind of enmity, but he killed Pandavas' sons, right? Of course, in ignorance. That means what? He is influenced by Tamoguna. He does not know what he is doing, because what he did, even Duryodhana is considered heinous himself. He also told Karna, told Ashwathama, what is it that you've done, right? It is not befitting a Kshatriya to go and do this. You are the son of a Brahmana. How could you do like this, like that? Yeah. So our guna and karma will determine our varna, right? And the more we develop Brahminical qualities, right? Brahma karma swabhavajam, right? Tolerance, humility, the more we will be able to progress faster than bhakti, right? Because the Satuguna is considered to be a strong springboard for us to get to the platform of Krishna Prem, or to get to the platform of Shuddha Sattva, right? So we have to develop Brahminical qualities. It's okay. Kalau Shudra Sambhava. If you're not born in a Brahminical family, it is perfectly okay. But we are all practicing devotees. That means we have the opportunity to become Brahminical, and we should not stop at being after having obtained these Brahminical qualities. We should not get the false ego. We should not get the ahankar. Oh, I am very humble. Oh, I am satisfied with whatever Krishna has given me. Oh, I am peaceful, right? Oh, I'm not hankering for anything, right? But that is not, that is, we come to the stage of zero access. Brahmabhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati. Very nice. We are not hankering and lamenting, but we don't want to stop there, because we want ananda. And that ananda can be attained only when we are engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? So first and foremost, we want to develop Brahmin qualities, because that will enable us to chant Hare Krishna Mahamitra more and more, as per the third verse of the Shikshashtakam. And another lesson that we learn from here is how Mother Uttara is running to Krishna, right? We have nobody else for our shelter. There are so many Ashwathamas in various forms who are causing a lot of trouble, right? Whether it is in the form of coronavirus, in the form of Adhyatmik, Adhibhautik, and Adhidaivik kleshas. We are always facing such kleshas. So we also need to surrender to Krishna. Pahi Pahi Mahayogin Deva Deva Jagatpate Nanyam Twar Abhayam Pasha. I don't have anybody else for my protection. Yatra Mrityu Parasparam. Please save me from this Martya Loka and take me back home, back to Godhead, like that. All right. So let's move ahead. 1.7.6. 1 point. 1 second. All right. So 1.7.6. अनर्थोपशमं साक्षात् भक्ति योगम अदोक्षजे लोकस्य जानोतो विद्वांस चक्रे सात्वत संहिताम. Synonyms, word to word meaning. Who's reading? Okay, Srimati Shamapriya Mataji. Quickly start off with the synonyms, Mataji. You don't have to repeat the verse. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Anartha, things which are superfluous. Upasamam, mitigation. Saksha, directly. Bhakti yogam, the linking process of devotional service. Adokshaje, unto the transcendence. Lokasya, of the general mass of men. Ajanataha, those who are unaware of. Vidwan, the supremely learned. Chakre, compiled. Satvataha, in relation with the supreme truth. Samhitam, Vedic literature. Translation, Prabhupada ki jai. The material miseries of living entity which are superfluous to him can be directly mitigated by the living process of devotional service, by the linking process of devotional service. But the mass of people do not know this, and therefore the learned Vyasadeva compiled this Vedic literature which is in relation to the supreme truth. Purport. Srila Vyasadeva saw the all-perfect personality of Godhead. This statement suggests that the complete unit of personality of Godhead includes his parts and parcels also. He saw, therefore, his different energies, namely the internal energy, marginal energy, and external energy. He also saw his different plenary portions and parts of the plenary portions, namely his different incarnations also, and he specifically observed the unwanted miseries of the conditioned souls who are bewildered by the external energy. And at last he saw the remedial measures for the conditioned soul, namely the process of devotional service. It is a great transcendental science and begins with the process of hearing, chanting the name, fame, glory, etc. of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Revival of the dormant affection of or love for Godhead does not depend on the mechanical system of hearing and chanting, but it solely and wholly depends on the causeless mercy of the Lord. When the Lord is fully satisfied with the sincere effort of the disciple of the devotee, he may endow him with his loving transcendental service. But even with the prescribed forms of hearing and chanting, there is at once mitigation of the superfluous or unwanted miseries of material existence. Such mitigation of material affection does not wait for the development of transcendental knowledge. Rather, knowledge is dependent on the devotional service for the ultimate realization of the supreme truth. Hare Krishna, Maji Pranams. Thank you.
Thank you. So, this the opportunity to render devotional service is in itself a greatest benediction, because the more we render devotional service to the Lord, the more we get attached to Krishna, the more we get attracted to Lord Shri Krishna, the more we develop our affinity to serve the Lord, to hear about the Lord, to chant the Lord's holy names. And that itself is a purifying process. So when we render devotional service, right, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate, when we are rendering devotional service into the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that engagement of the senses in itself purifies the heart. So much so that gradually we will develop affinity to hear about the holy names of the Lord, right? And how is Vyasadeva undergoing? Yesterday we discussed that Vyasadeva is realizing all of these pastimes, right, in his heart, and that is how he is able to write the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So between jnana and jnana and vairagya, there is a verse which talks about how jnana and vairagya are like the sons of bhakti. When bhakti comes, jnana and vairagya automatically come. But it is not the other way around, right? That if I become very learned, I know all the memorize all the shlokas, then automatically I will be able to perform bhakti. No, not necessarily, right? But if I perform bhakti, if I'm engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then I don't need to memorize the shlokas. It is not required. Krishna is not testing our memorization capabilities, because whatever we are able to memorize also, we are able to do it only by the mercy of the Lord. But why do we memorize then? If there is no need, we are memorizing it because Gajendra, how he remembered the shlokas that he learned in Jumna. Because of our Manda Sumanda, we don't understand anything. We don't have the proper desire. We don't want to serve the Lord. But at least what we are trying to do, if we memorize the shlokas and keep repeating the shlokas, that itself is a process of purification for us. That's the reason we keep memorizing the shlokas, because when we are bathing, when we are cooking, when we are even before sleeping, we can meditate on these shlokas. Like Pahi Pahi Mahayogi is one important shloka we can all memorize. Pahi Pahi Mahayogin Deva Deva Jagatpade Nanyam Tvad Abhayam Pashe Yatra Mrityu Parasparam. Every minute, every second, we need to be cognizant of the fact that I'm so helpless in this world. I have no shelter other than the Supreme Lord. And we are also, Krishna will also like us. We will become dear to Krishna. Why? Because we are reminding Krishna of Uttara, isn't it? This is Uttara's prayers. We are reciting the prayers of Uttara. When we recite the prayers of Uttara, Krishna is reminded to him. Right? This is like taking shelter of a devotee. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Where did he stand? He stood behind the Garuda Stamba. Right? It is not like showing and going and standing in front of the Lord. I am here. Like that. Right? That attitude does not please the Lord. But when we are always following the footsteps of devotees, standing behind the devotees, then the Lord always sees the devotees wherever they are standing. Right? Garuda Stamba is where? Outside. Right? The Lord always glances on Garuda, because Garuda is a great devotee of the Lord. Garuda has the seva of always carrying the Lord, isn't it? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, in his all humility, he is Krishna himself. He also stood behind the Garuda Stamba, indicating that we have to take shelter of the devotees and not try to become prominent. That doesn't mean that if the temple hall is empty, we stand behind. When there is an opportunity to serve, we go ahead, sing Kirtan, sing bhajans when there's an opportunity. But when if it is very crowded, then we ensure that we are seen by the Lord when we are standing behind the wonderful devotees who are performing seva. Either we are performing seva, or if we don't have an opportunity, not able to perform seva for whatever reason, then we at least stand behind the devotee and assist the devotee in rendering the seva. Or at least do not cause obstacles. So when we are doing this, standing behind the devotees, then the Lord's glance will fall on us. It is more important for the Lord to see us than we becoming and fighting to see the Lord, to become in to go in front. Right? It happens during festival time. All the devotees want to rush in the front. They just push and pull, and after that we don't see them anywhere. Right? So that attitude does not please Krishna. Right? We need to show enthusiasm, but it needs to be shown in the right time, in the right place. And what is the goal of enthusiasm? Utsahat Nishya Dhairyat. The goal is to please the Lord, not to please our senses. When we are rushing to see the Lord, we are only trying to satisfy our own senses. With my eyes, I want to see the Lord. Very good. That is fantastic. We should always yearn to see the Lord, but not at the cost of causing difficulty to others. Right? So rendering devotional service also needs jnana, needs that knowledge. Right? Sambandha jnana it needs abhidaya jnana, it needs prayojana jnana. So everything is encompassed under bhakti. We don't have to specifically venture towards knowledge or venture towards giving up things, vairagya. Of course, we are going to fast for Ekadashi, Nirjala Ekadashi, that is coming on 7th of June, right? Of course, we are practicing Vairagya, but that is not the goal. We don't want to make detachment to matter our goal. We don't want to make knowledge our goal. We want to make bhakti our goal. Because if you please Krishna, If you want to please Krishna, then we will do everything that pleases Krishna, which means taking shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, following the instructions of the bona fide spiritual master, doing those things. What is that? Anukulyasa sankalpa pratikulyasa varjanam, doing what is favorable for bhakti, not doing which is not favorable for bhakti. And in that way, we'll progress in bhakti without ahankar, without that, oh, I am doing everything, I know so many shlokas, I have renounced, I am doing Nirjala Ekadashi, I am fasting without water. But if that attitude does not please our Guru, what is the need? What is the need? If that I was hearing as soon as Radhanath Swami Maharaj's class, he was telling, we are following Nirjala Ekadashi and we are thinking that I am following Nirjala Ekadashi, I am not even drinking water. But these devotees, they are all taking Ekadashi Prasadam. So I am so wonderful. So if that is the attitude, then Maharaj was saying, it is better to take some water and Ekadashi Prasad and not feed the false ego, rather than feed your stomach with proper Ekadashi Prasadam, rather than feed your false ego by artificially following Nirjala Ekadashi. Right? So this is our international state of Krishna consciousness. What is the consciousness in which we are practicing Vairagya? What is the consciousness in which we are obtaining Jnana? It is, the goal is to attain Krishna Prema. The goal is to please Guru and Gauranga. If the goal is not in place, all the activities you may do, but if you don't do it with the proper consciousness, then it is all Shrama Evahi Kevalam. It is all useless labor, like that. Okay, let's move ahead. Okay, 1.7.6. Anartho Pashamam Sakshat Bhakti Yogam Adokshaje Lokasya Janata Vidvams Chakre Satvata Samhitam. Synonyms, word to word meanings, Sarva Gopi Shri Mataji, and then Deval Mataji, and then Sudha Mataji. We have a hard stop at 11:55. So let's quickly move ahead. Synonyms, please read fast, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Pranam 6. Anartha, things which are superfluous. Upasamam, mitigation. Sakshat, directly. Bhakti Yogam, the linking process of devotional service. Adokshade, unto the transcendentals. Lokasya, of the general mass of men. Ajanataga, those who are unaware of. Vidwan, the supreme learned. Chakre, compiled. Satvata, in relation to the supreme truth. Samhita, Vedic literature. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The material miseries of the living entity, which are superfluous to him, can be directly mitigated by the linking process of devotional service. But the mass of the people do not know this, and therefore the learned Vyasadeva compiled this Vedic literature, which is in relation to the supreme truth. Purport.
Yeah, purport.
Srila Vyasadeva saw the all-perfect personality of Godhead. This statement suggests that the complete unit of the personality of Godhead includes his parts and parcels also. He saw, therefore, his different energies, namely the internal energy, the marginal energy, and the external energy. He also saw his different plenary portions and parts of the plenary portion, namely his different incarnation also. And he specifically observed the unwanted miseries of the conditioned soul, who are bewildered by the external energy. And at last, he saw the remedial measure for the conditioned soul, namely the process of devotional service. It is a great transcendental science and begins with the process of hearing and chanting the name, fame, glory, etc. of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Revival of the dormant affection of love of Godhead does not depend on the mechanical system of hearing and chanting, but it solely and wholly depends on the causeless mercy of the Lord. When the Lord is fully satisfied with the sincere efforts of the devotee, he may endow him with his loving transcendental service. But even with the prescribed forms of hearing and chanting, there is at once mitigation of the superfluous and unwanted miseries of the material existence. Such mitigation of material affliction does not wait for the development of transcendental knowledge. Rather, knowledge is dependent on the devotional service for the ultimate realization of the supreme truth. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So knowledge is dependent on devotional service. That's what we discussed in great detail, right? Bhakti is independent of Jnana and Vairagya, whereas Jnana and Vairagya are dependent on Bhakti to actually to attain the result of whatever is the result that is attainable by jnana and vairagya. It can be attained only if there is an element of bhakti in it. But bhakti does not require any jnana, right? Again, we are remembering the pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how the Brahmana was reading with the book upside down. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you have realized the purport. Because he realized that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, how he is serving his own devotee like that. Okay, 1.7.8. Sasamhitam bhagavatim kritvanukramya chatmajam shukam adhyapayam asa nivrati niratam munihi. Deval Mataji, go ahead. Synonyms.
Hare Krishna Mataji, you're yet to say 7.7. We finished 7.6 twice.
No, just
This
now we
was 7.
completed 1.7.
That is 7.6, which we completed twice. 7.7 is missing on your screen. It's Yasyam
No.
by Shrumanayam.
1.7. Oh,
7.
1.7.7 is not there.
Yeah, it's not there. And we finished 7.6 twice before this.
Oh, okay. Okay, do you have the screen, Mataji? Can you share screen 1.7.7? Okay, let me quickly do that. Let me quickly do it.
Okay.
Let me open it on database. I don't know. Shobha Mataji, can you just check it? The verse is missing in the Word document. Okay, in any case, let me open 1.7.7. Okay. All right. Okay. Thanks, Mataji. Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah, no
Let's
problem.
quickly go ahead. 1.7.7. Are you able to see the screen, Mataji?
Yeah, it's loading.
Yasyam vaishrutamanaayam Krishne paramapurushe bhaktir utpadyate pumsaha shoka moha bhayapaha. Yes, Mataji. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes. Synonyms.
Yeah.
Yasyam, this Vedic literature. Why? Certainly. Shruyamanayam, simply by giving oral reception. Krishna, unto Lord Krishna. Parama, supreme. Purushe, unto the personality of Godhead. Bhaktihi, feelings of devotional service. Utpadyate, sprouta. Pumsaha, of the living being. Shoka, lamentation. Moha, illusion. Bhaya, fearfulness. Apaha, that which extinguishes. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Simply by giving oral reception to this Vedic literature, the feeling for loving devotional service to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts up at once to extinguish the fire of lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness. There are various senses of which the ear is most effective. This sense works even when a man is deep asleep. One can protect himself from the hands of an enemy while awake, but while asleep, one is protected by the ear only. The importance of hearing is mentioned here in connection with attaining the highest perfection of life, namely getting free from 3 material pangs. Everyone is full of lamentation at every moment. He is after the mirage of illusory things, and he is always afraid of his supposed enemy. These are the primary symptoms of the material disease, and it is definitely suggested herein that simply by hearing the message of Srimad Bhagavatam, one gets attachment for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, and as soon as this is affected, the symptoms of the material disease disappear. Srila Vyasadeva saw the all-effect personality of Godhead, and in this statement, the all-perfect personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is clearly confirmed. The ultimate result of devotional service is to develop genuine love for the Supreme Personality. Love is a word which is often used in relation with man and woman, and love is the only word that can be properly used to indicate the relation between Lord Krishna and the living entities. The living entities are mentioned as Prakriti in the Bhagavad Gita, and in Sanskrit, Prakriti is a feminine object. The Lord is always described as the Param Purusha, or the supreme male personality. Thus, the affection between the Lord and the living entities is something like that between the male and the female. Therefore, the term love of Godhead is quite appropriate. Loving devotional service to the Lord begins with hearing about the Lord. There is no difference between the Lord and the subject matter heard about him. The Lord is absolute in all respects, and thus there is no difference between him and the subject matter heard about him. Therefore, hearing about him means immediate contact with him by the process of vibration of the transcendental sound, and the transcendental sound is so effective that it acts at once by removing all material affections mentioned above. As mentioned before, a living entity develops a sort of complexity by material association, and the illusory engagement of the material body is accepted as an actual fact. Under such false complexity, the living beings under different categories of life become illusioned in different ways. Even in the most developed stage of human life, the same illusion prevails in the form of many isms and divides the loving relation with the Lord, and thereby divides the loving relation between man and man. By hearing the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam, this false complexity of materialism is removed and real peace in society begins, which politicians aspire for so eagerly in many political situations. The politicians want a peaceful situation between man and nation, but at the same time, because of too much attachment for material domination, there is illusion and fearfulness. Therefore, the politicians' peace conferences cannot bring about peace in society. It can only be done by hearing the subject matter described in the Srimad Bhagavatam about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. The foolish politicians may go on holding peace and summit conferences for hundreds of years, but they will fail to achieve success until we reach the stage of re-establishing a lost relation with Krishna. The illusion of accepting the body as a self will prevail, and thus fearfulness will also prevail. As for the validity of Sri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are hundreds and thousands of evidences from revealed scriptures, and there are hundreds and thousands of evidences from personal experiences of devotees in various places like Vrindavana, Navadipa, and Puri. Even in the Kaumudi dictionary, the synonyms of Krishna are given as the son of Yashoda and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Parabrahman. The conclusion is that simply by hearing the Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, one can have direct connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, and thereby one can attain the highest perfection of life by transcending worldly miseries, illusion, and fearfulness. These are practical tests for one who has actually given a submissive hearing to the readings of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dhanavad Pranam.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. So this is actually talking about Yasyam Vai Shruyamananam. Shruyamanayam means hearing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. So when we hear about the Supreme Personality of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, then what happens? All the anarthas, all the unnecessary things that have occupied our mind and heart, right? They will all be removed, and in its place, what will get established in the heart? Nashtaprayeshu vadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. So in the place of kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, what gets established in the heart? Bhakti, right? Devotion, service under the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes established in the heart of the devotee. So this is a very beautiful verse actually. Yasyam vai shruyamanayam Krishne parama purushe. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whom we always want to remember, whom we always want to hear about. Bhaktir utpadyate pumsaha. Bhaktir utpadyate. Right? Simply hearing about Krishna by studying Srimad Bhagavatam will utpadyate, will invoke bhakti in our heart. Pumsaha means living entities. Shoka moha bhayapaha. These are some things that we are always afflicted with in this material world. Shoka, moha, and bhaya. Shoka means misery. Right? This world is a miserable place. This is a dukhalayam. So we are always suffering in this material world. So always having shoka. Moha means illusion. We think I am this body. Whatever is belonging to the body is mine. And if something that's pertinent to the body is taken away, we feel sad. Isn't it? Shoka, moha, bhaya. Bhaya means fear. Fear of the uncertainty. Because fear, we don't know what is going to happen next. Right? So in this way, we are always fearful of what will happen next, what will happen next, what will happen next, like that. Yeah. So this, how do we, hearing the glories of the Lord will enable us to transcend shoka, moha, and bhaya. Right? It will help us transcend this misery, shoka, moha, illusion, and bhaya, which is fear. So this has got material benefits also, but our ultimate benefit is Bhajahure mana Shri Nandanandana Abhaya Charana Ravindare. So Prabhupada is saying these are practical tests. Right? These are practical. How much we are not fearful, how much we are not in illusion, how much we are not not feeling miserable in any sad situation of this material world. To that extent, we know that we are submissively hearing the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam and we are following in their footsteps, like that. Okay, 1.7.7 is now added here. Okay, 1.7.8. संहितां भागवतीं कृत्वानुक्रम्य चात्मजं शुकम् अध्यापयामाश निवृत्ति निरतं मुनिः. Okay, so we'll do this and the next verse. Let's see. Who's reading now? Okay, where's that screen now? Oh, Sudha Mataji, go ahead. Synonyms. Okay, somebody else read it, but it's okay. We'll redo it. We'll go in the
Hare
sequence
Krishna,
of the verses. Yes, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams. Synonyms: Saha, that, Samhitam, Vedic literature, Bhagavati, in relation with the personality of Godhead, Kritva, having done, Anukramya, by correction and repetition, Cha, and Atmajam, his own son, Shukam, Sukadeva Goswami, Adhyapayam, Asa, taught, Nivritti, path of self-realization, Niratam, engaged, Muni, the sage. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The great sage Vyasadeva, after compiling the Srimad Bhagavatam and revising it, taught it to his own son Sri Shukdev Goswami, who was already engaged in self-realization. Purport: Srimad Bhagavatam is a natural commentation on the Brahma Sutras compiled by the same author. This Brahma Sutra or Vedanta Sutra is meant for those who are already engaged in self-realization. Srimad Bhagavatam is so made that one becomes at once engaged in the path of self-realization simply by hearing the topics. Although it is especially meant for the Paramahamsas or those who are totally engaged in self-realization, it works into the depths of the hearts of those who may be worldly men. Worldly men are all engaged in sense gratification, but even such men will find in this Vedic literature a remedial measure for their material diseases. Shukdev Goswami was a liberated soul from the very beginning of his birth, and his father taught him Srimad Bhagavatam. Amongst mundane scholars, there is some diversity of opinion as to the date of compilation of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is, however, certain from the text of the Bhagavatam that it was compiled before the disappearance of King Parikshit and after the departure of Lord Krishna. When Maharaj Parikshit was ruling the world as a king of Bharatvarsha, he chastised the personality of Kali. According to revealed scriptures and astrological calculation, the age of Kali is in its 5,000th year. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled not less than 5,000 years ago. Mahabharata was compiled before Srimad Bhagavatam and the Puranas were compiled before Mahabharata. That is an estimation of the date of compilation of the different Vedic literatures. The synopsis of Srimad Bhagavatam was given before the detailed description under instruction of Narada. Srimad Bhagavatam is the science for following the path of Nivritti Marg. The path of Pravritti Marg was condemned by Narad. That path is the natural inclination for all conditioned souls. The theme of Srimad Bhagavatam is the cure of the materialistic disease of the human being, or stopping completely the pangs of material existence. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So there is a beautiful verse. Pravritim cha nivritim cha na vidhu asuras. Na vidhu asuragana. Like that. So pravritim cha nivritim cha means what to do, what not to do. Who does not know? The asuras don't know. Pravritim cha nivritim cha na vidhu asuragana. Right. So in this case, what is clearly mentioned is we should not do pravrti. Pravrti means that is our natural characteristic. What is our natural characteristic? To engage in sense gratification. What is nivritti? Nivritti is what a human being should do. What is for his ultimate benefit. Right. So the pravrti mark we should not adopt, taking into account the teachings of a guru, sadhu and shastra, and what we should actually take, we should take the nivritti marg, because the nivritti marg which is given in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is talking about what we should do. What we want to do for our sense gratification we need to give up, and what we should do we should follow as per the injunctions of the shastra. So that is clearly the injunction of this particular verse, pravarti and nivritti. And one more thing what I thought of here is, this talks about when the Bhagavatam is compiled, right? It was before the disappearance of Maharaja Parikshit and after the disappearance of Lord Sri Krishna, right? Krishna Swadamopagate Dharma Jnana Dibisaha Kalo Nashto Drishamesha Puranarko Adunoditaha, right? To give the light in this age of Kali, which is filled with darkness, which is filled with Tamoguna, after Krishna departed to Goloka Vrindavan, Srimad Bhagavatam has appeared to actually give us that light by which we can follow the path of bhakti, follow the path of our journey back home, back to Godhead. So the light is provided by Srimad Bhagavatam after Krishna departed to the spiritual world, like that. All right, let's do the last verse for today. 1.7.9. Yeah. Rajneesh Prabhu, please go ahead quickly. Shaunakavacha savai nivritti nirataha sarvatro prekshako munihi kasyava bratim etam atmarama samabhyasat. Synonyms, word to word translation. Quickly. Dandavats.
Synonyms. Saunuka watch. Shri Saunuk asked, Sah, he, why, of course, Nibriti on the path of self-realization, Nirtaha, always engaged, Sarvatra, in every respect, Upekskaha, indifferent, Muni says, Kasya, for what reason, Va or Bratim, vast, Itam, this Atma Aramaha, one Atmaram, one who is pleased in himself. Some Bhasa undergo these studies. Translation. Shri Saunak asked Sud Goswami, Shri Shukdev Goswami was already on the path of self-realization, and thus he was pleased with his own self. So why did he take the trouble to undergo the study of such a vast literature? Perfect for the people in general, the highest perfection of life is to cease from the material activities and be fixed on the path of self. Those who take pleasure in sense enjoyment or those who are fixed in material bodily welfare work are called karmis. Out of thousands and millions of such karmis, one may become an Atmaram by self-realization. Atma means self, Aram means to take pleasure. Everyone is searching after the highest pleasure, but the standard of pleasure of one may be different from the standard of another. Therefore, the standard of pleasure enjoyed by the karmis is different from that of Atmarams. The Atmarams are completely indifferent to material enjoyment in every respect. Shri Shukdev Goswami has already attained that stage, and still he was expected to undergo the trouble of studying the great Bhagavatam literature. This means the Srimad Bhagavatam. That Srimad Bhagavatam is a postgraduate study, even for the Atmarams who have surpassed all the studies of Vedic knowledge. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Atmaram is a name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why? Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is satisfied in himself. He is completely in bliss. He does not need anybody else to feel that bliss, right? Atmarama Anantaramana Achyuta Keshava Hari Narayana Bhavabhaya Harana Vandita Charana Raghukula Bhushana Rajiva Lochana. So like that, there are songs which glorify the Lord as Atmaram, right? The Lord is complete in himself. The Lord is bliss, is complete bliss. He's Sat-Chit Ananda. He's Ananda unlimited. He does not need anybody to give him pleasure. Yet the Lord is so merciful. He gives opportunity to every jiva to give him pleasure. And by giving the Lord that pleasure, the jiva also experiences the pleasure. Why? Because we are parts and parcels of that Supreme Personality of Godhead. One more very important point here is this Bhagavatam is not just released by Shukadeva Goswami or Suta Goswami or the Parikshit Maharaj or the Shaunaka Adi Rishis, right? Nigamkalpatarorgalitam phalam Shukamukhat Amritadrava Samyutam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muharaho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. It's a rasika means it's enjoyed, it's relished, not just by pure devotees, but also by sadhaka bhaktas, right? I am a sadhaka. I have not attained love for Krishna, but the Bhagavatam is written in such a wonderful way. It narrates the pastimes of the Lord so much in such a beautiful way, right? That it even attracts people who are on the path of bhakti. It even attracts those who are not doing bhakti also, right? We see that people go for Bhagavata Saptaha. Why? Because that kind of enjoyment that they get, different people according to their gunas, whether they are in Tamoguna, Rajaguna, or Sattva-guna, if they hear Bhagavatam, they will relish, right? They may not get the right understanding because they are not hearing from a proper source. But Bhagavatam in its version, in its original version, is so much nectar. Anybody who hears the Bhagavatam will automatically relish it and develop one's love for Krishna. But if you hear it from a wrong source, then it becomes contaminated. Just like Prabhupada says, milk that is touched by the lips of a serpent, right? The milk is healthy. The milk is giving you ultimate health. But if it is touched by the lips of a serpent, it can cause poisonous effects. Similarly, Bhagavatam is pure nectar, but it should be heard from the lips of a bona fide devotee of the Lord, who's coming in one of the four bona fide paramparas. In this way, by continuously simply hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, one will develop the ruchi or the taste for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. And this Srimad Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna himself. So we'll daily awaken our love for Krishna by simply studying Srimad Bhagavatam. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद श्री गुरुदेव की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल. Quickly, 2-3 minutes, Harinam Sankirtan, we'll end our session. Devotees can switch on your cameras. Hari bol. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine, Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshotaurine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadharo Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladev Jai Jai Subhadra Jai Jai Sudarshan, Jai Bala Gopal Jaya Rukmini Vitthal Jaya Prahlad Narsingha, Jai Shad Goswami Jaya Guru Parampara, Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, dear devotees. We will meet tomorrow, 4:30 a.m. for our Brahma Murta chanting, starting with the Shiksha Ashtakam prayers. And we will meet at 11 o'clock tomorrow as we continue with the study of Ramayana for the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga and for the pleasure of Sita Ram.